It's finally Friday. It's Friday, Friday.
Thank God it's
All right, welcome to the special Belmont Stakes edition of the Friday Show, presented by DRF Bets. I'm Scott Jagow, along with Ray Paulick. We're, of course, at Belmont Park in New York, where there's a certain amount of drama that's already unfolding around the Belmont Stakes Festival. Let's get right to it, starting with Brian Lynch and his horse, Private Zone. Private Zone is out of the True North Stakes, but not because of anything that the horse did or that was tested with the horse. It was the trainer that tested positive. Unusual.
Yeah, the New York State Gaming Commission did a random drug test of Brian Lynch, tested positive for marijuana. According to the rules of New York racing, that makes him ineligible to put a saddle on a horse and run it in a race. I think it's a crazy rule, but what really bothers me is it's a New York rule. We don't have that rule somewhere else. You know, can we please standardize the rules so that it's the same in New York as it is in,
You know the answer to that? No, that's not going to happen, at least anytime soon,
Please.
as much as we wish that it would. The thing about this is, in this day and age, people are starting to be okay with marijuana, and it's being legalized in several states. So I know there's been an outcry that this is outrageous, and around here, Brian Lynch is highly respected, well liked. There's a lot of suspicion about the fact that, is this really a random drug test? Who knows, but that's just speculation. But my issue is that if he did know, though, what the rule is, then you got to own up to the consequences, and he has, to his credit, owned up to it, and then turned in his license. But it's like players in the NFL who complain about the marijuana rule. They get caught, and they go, oh, this is unfair, it's legal in several states. Well, it's not legal in the NFL. So that's where we are with this thing.
Or in New York.
As stupid as the rule might be.
Yeah, or in New York racing. It's not legal.
Right.
We don't live by society's rules, we live by the New York State Gaming Commission's rules, so that's the way it is. The unfortunate thing is it's taken Private Zone out of the race. He was one of the few recognizable names that some, non-hardcore fans might know, and it's a card, frankly, devoid in stars.
Yeah, it's unfortunate if you look through the list of the leaderboard of the divisions. You've got California Chrome, he's not here. Right. Beholder's not here. Tepin's not here.
Run Happy.
So, Run Happy. So you're missing some of the recognizable names. However, on the flip side, if you look at the cards, they are very competitive. And it should be great betting and viewing races, so there is that.
And it's one race, it's a good betting race, but a race that traditionally has been one of the most important races on the calendar, and that's the Met Mile. I thought it came up really weak this year. There's only 2 Grade 1 winners, I think, in the field. The starting high weight will be 120 pounds, which is pretty low. I do like a horse in the race, a long shot named Calculator, who ran against American Pharaoh as a 2-year-old. He missed almost all of last year. He's had a lot of hard luck this year. I really look for him to run a big race on Saturday in the Met Mile.
I think you're going to get some long shots in these races, and that might include the Belmont Stakes, where long shots have done quite well throughout history. You've got Exaggerator, who ran a bang-up race in both the Derby and the Preakness. He really did. And you know what? The last time a horse finished second in the Derby and then won the Preakness and the Belmont was 1955. So he's up against a lot of history, even more than American Pharaoh was with 37 years. What I'm curious about is this whole behind-the-scenes ownership, switching trainers with Gettysburg.
Right.
And why do you think that is going on?
Well, WinStar Farm owns Gettysburg. They also own Creator, a horse that comes from out of it. He won the Arkansas Derby from way out of it. He needs an honest pace. It didn't look like there was going to be a real honest pace in the race. Stradivari, a Todd Pletcher trained horse for the Coolmore folks, does have speed. Todd Pletcher had Gettysburg in his barn too, but he didn't want to run the two against each other because it would lessen Stradivari's chances. So WinStar said, why don't we move Gettysburg over to Steve Asmussen, that way you don't have to run him against your other horse. Right. So that's what they're doing.
Like I said, drama. There's always drama. All right, when it comes down to it though, is it Exaggerator and everyone else?
I think so, because Exaggerator was a very good 2-year-old. He certainly is bred to get the distance at the Belmont. Ran big in the Derby. He was awesome in the Preakness. I think he's the horse to beat.
I think Gettysburg, if he gets the lead, you got to be real careful letting him do a Datara. I think he's a better horse than Datara was in 2008. So watch out for stealing the Belmont that way. The other horse that's interesting, just toss his Derby, but he was kind of up and coming, and his pedigree is pretty good, and that's Trojan Nation.
Isn't he a maiden?
He's a maiden. That's what I'm talking about. We want crazy. If we're talking about the Belmont, he's a maiden. Why not a maiden winning the Belmont? So that I'm gonna put a few shekels on Trojan Nation. All right, that's gonna do it for this edition of the Friday Show presented by DRF Bets. Thanks so much for joining us, and enjoy the races.